Welcome, listeners, to Quickfire Questions with Fairfax and Favour, where we will be putting some quickfire questions, as the name might suggest, to some of the best riders in the business. And today's guest is the Blenheim long format 4-star winner, none other than Yasmin Ingham. Yas, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What is your favourite event?
I would say Blenheim has to be at the top of the list. It's just such an incredible venue and I love how all the crowds come and watch.
What Fairfax and Favour boot would you wear to a trot up?
I think my favourite trot-up boot from Fairfax and Favour has to be the Heel Mirror. I just think they look so smart, elegant and classy.
What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
Something that stuck with me from day one is what Chris Bartle said to me many years ago, and that's stick to your system.
Yas, thank you so much. We have loved you answering our quickfire questions with Fairfax and Favour.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we are back, listeners, with another Future Stars show, because this is where we look to see who are the superstars of tomorrow. And when Future Stars came back on the schedule, there was one person who immediately sprung to mind. And I have to admit, I am very much looking forward to hearing her story and finding out a little bit more about her childhood and kind of forging her own path, because her own path is certainly taking a very, very strong route. She had her first Le Lion d'Angers Young Horse World Championship call-up last year. She had a podium finish at 3-star level. She won at 2-star level the year previously. She's still only 19 years of age. She has 2 5-star winning parents. Ellie Fredericks, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It is our absolute pleasure. We're looking forward to kind of picking your brains and hearing more about you, I think is the key here. It was an incredible year in 2022, your first Le Lion call-up, and that was actually your first international event outside of the UK as well, wasn't it?
I did Mill Street back in 2019.
Okay.
I went with the development squad there and took my 2 junior horses to Mill Street, which was very fun.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine that would be quite a party bus, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Mill Street. Yeah, that would be good fun. First of all, talk to me about your childhood, because your mum, Lucinda, 5-star winner, absolute legend. Your dad, Clayton, individual silver medalist from the World Championships, again, 5-star winner, complete eventing legend. Was it always a given that you would follow the eventing path, or was that something that at times you weren't sure about?
Oh God, no. So I'm pretty, until I was about 12, my mum, my dad, everyone, all of our family friends and me, we were all certain I was not going to event. I wasn't going to do horses. I had absolutely no interest. I'd have had a couple of ponies and obviously ridden when I was younger. But no, it wasn't something that interests me at all. I was, oddly enough, I was very into like the whole singing and acting thing. But my mum, the pony that I had just before I started secondary school actually got injured and was off for a year. So I didn't ride anything for a year. And then my mum got me a little project, a 14-2 Appaloosa. And I think that was the year that I turned 11, so I could do BE. And I mean, I think I did 4 events that year, and I was absolutely hooked. I didn't really slow down after that. Instead of it becoming being more of I'd hop on a pony and kind of gallop around until I was happy. I'd spend most days down at the yard, and the pony collection just grew.
That's amazing, because actually, through your childhood, there would have been so many horses around, so many big events, lots of success along the way. But actually, I guess we're talking, 2014-ish, if we're talking 8 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
When perhaps, I think your dad would have been in America at that point already.
Yes, I think he went over in 2012-ish. Just after 2012.
And so your mum sort of wasn't at the 5-star level. So I guess they'd both taken a bit of a, not a backseat, but were less busy as such than they had been over the last sort of 10 years or so. But it's interesting that actually you kind of just fell in love with it again. Almost that break was what you needed. And then you got the bug.
To be fair, I think it was just being able to go to the events. I'd gone to the big events, but I wasn't really old enough to be like interested. And all the stuff that I'd done from when I was little was kind of like the odd little thing. I think the ponies that I did try to go eventing on didn't really like eventing. So like going BE and actually seeing what a one-day event was like, just, yeah. It definitely, I definitely caught the bug.
So that U-turn, the pony collection kept growing, but even then, what happened to the acting and the singing? Was that very much still plan A, or is that?
I kind of just did it as I never really knew what else I would do if I didn't do horses. But so I did a lot of acting and like musical theatre through secondary school. I think I did my grade 8 musical theatre in lower 6th, I believe. So like I still kept it going, but obviously with more horses kind of coming through, I was just getting less interested in it. I wanted to spend more time at the yard, spend as little time at school as possible, and so just like the idea of having to go to rehearsals for like 2 hours after school when I could be coming home and riding didn't really appeal as much.
Yeah, no, I get that completely. And so what's the setup now for you at home in terms of the kind of the breeding side of things? You're very, very good. I think one of the things that has really caught the eye of a lot of people is your ability to produce young horses so well. And I know you had a next gen final winner last year, and actually the horses that you're getting the international success on now, a lot of them you've produced at the levels yourself. So just talk us through the kind of setup at home and how the different parts of the yard kind of fit into the jigsaw piece.
So we've never had enough money to buy me something pre-produced. So the idea of producing them has always is the only way that I've been able to have horses. I don't think the only horse that I've been given that has been my first experience one was, oddly enough, my mum's advanced stallion, Britannia's male, but then she'd produced him up to advanced. So yeah, we never really, it was just the way that it worked. And oddly enough, I love producing the youngsters. It's so rewarding. And so to have the stallions who we can then breed from to then produce youngsters, it all just fits together really well. Like my mum she absolutely adores the stallion. She quite likes taking them to the stud. She finds it quite interesting. And then we then get the foals, and then you can like see them grow up to then, like my mum's so experienced with knowing what to do, like backing them. Like she won't get on them herself. I've definitely become the crash test dummy in that aspect, but she knows exactly what they need to do. She knows how to do it, and so she can explain to me, and then I know what I'm doing. But it's just really helpful having someone to kind of who knows that much to kind of look over and keep an eye on me, make sure like if I have any questions about what I'm doing, or I've got a problem with a horse on the flat, she's quite happy to get on, and she then tells me what she's doing, explains, goes over it, gives me some or tells me what she's doing to make it better, and then I can then go and implement that. But yeah, we've got the youngsters, and then we've got a really good team of girls at the yard who help ride them, and oh my god, when I'm trying to ride at the moment, like 7 or 8 a day, they're getting them ready for me, they're washing them off, and then I help in the mornings and the evenings. But it always seems a little bit chaotic, but it all manages to fit into position. And I'm not 100% sure how, but it all seems to work.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think sometimes, when you've got that many sort of balls that you're juggling, it is likely to feel like there's a lot on. But actually, teamwork makes the dream work, and it takes a team of people to be able to pull together. And actually, it's quite reassuring when you know that those kind of puzzle pieces are falling into place. How's the dynamic working so closely with your mum, and kind of the training? Does she train you? Obviously she helps you. Does she train you? Do you like that? Like, how does that balance work? Because I certainly remember my dad used to really, really annoy me because he'd come and watch me train, and then he wasn't overly horsey, but he could trot out all of the right expressions. He made it sound like it was exactly what he was trained to do. I knew he was right, but damned if I was going to listen to him.
Oh God. No, it's an interesting relationship between me and my mother. I love her to pieces. I do. And oddly enough, I do listen to her. She does, like, she trains me a lot. I go to someone else to show jump my now 8-year-old, just because even my mum was getting my mum, like, she knows how to do eventers, but this one, when we get a little bit stuck, we go to Jeremy, and it's brilliant. It's so helpful. But yeah, no, there's definitely been a couple of arguments. I can't lie. There tends to be a lot of yelling at the yard. It's not aggressive, but half the time my mother doesn't listen to me, and half the time I don't listen to her. So there's a lot of just yelling back and forth from opposite ends of the yard, trying to communicate what bit does she want on this horse, what saddle am I putting on this horse, who does she want next. But no, surprisingly, I do listen to her. I sometimes question why I do, but she does. As much as I don't want to admit it, she does know best, and it does definitely. It's definitely better if I listen to her. When I try and do it my way, it doesn't always end well.
But you know what? That's one of those things, sort of a learning experience, isn't it, as such? And you find the happy medium that works. And sometimes when you work with family, it's particularly close. Actually, you can be a little bit more brutally honest than other people might perhaps be, which can be a good thing, and it can be a hard thing. Works both ways.
Spending 24/7 with my mother is can be a little bit much. There's a reason she's gone on holiday for a couple of days.
And you've actually just got back from having had a couple of months away. You went out to Australia, but you also, when you go out to America to see your dad, you also seem to, I don't know how you don't come home with a collection more horses. I don't see how there's not a flight with a good 2 or 3 on them, kind of shipping them back to the UK, because you look to really enjoy it.
Oh, I know, I do love it. So I spent 5 weeks out there actually working for not working for my dad, but riding. And I just, so I go out every time I go out there. I go to my dad and I'm like, stick me on whatever you want. I want to ride. I want to ride as many as possible. I normally get to ride some really good, nice youngsters. Like he has some lovely horses over there. And it's great experience because it's such a different environment. Like I think my dad lives 20 minutes from the World Equestrian Centre in Ocala, which is incredible. It's such a different experience. Like you don't quite have the mud and wet and raininess of England.
I was going to ask, because obviously the UK is where you've grown up and has an incredible eventing community and calendar and setup and everything else. But the US also has this kind of next level in terms of some of the facilities on offer, the prize money, the sponsorship, everything from that perspective. So what are the differences? What do you really notice when you go out there and then when you come home again?
Oh, Well, the price in horses. It's selling horses out there is amazing. Like, you can see why a lot of people here want to sell their horses to America. The demand is insane. There's so many people, and it's just like the events are different. Like, I'd say, well, England is known for its eventing. Like, the events are definitely better over here, or I prefer them. There's just a different atmosphere. So when I always go tends to be in the winter months, when everyone has come down to Ocala for just for the winter. So there's always so many horsey people around. When I go, like Wexcott, I think in January they have 4 weeks of straight show jumping, and like the hunter and eck classes that they do in America, and it's just incredible. Like, the size of everything, it blew my mind the first time I saw WEC. Like, atmosphere and the attitude's quite different. I can't put a word on it, but it's very Americanized. It's just so much. Yeah. It's so big. The dream would be to do however many months in England and then go over to America to do the winter, the off season. But that would be incredibly expensive.
You'd have to sell some really nice young horses along the way. And
yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What is the sort of the long-term goal, the big picture? It's always that question, isn't it? That when people ask you, oh, where do you want to be in 10 years? Or, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Is one of those really annoying questions. So yes, I'm going to ask it, because ultimately, what is it that makes you tick? What is it that now makes you get up, want to ride the horses, get out of bed, work all hours of the day? What is it for you that really drives you?
Working in big increments of time slightly blows my mind. I like to work in small little increments. So I'll always have my aims for the next couple of years, and that helps with the motivation, especially through winter. So I was lucky enough this year, actually the first year, because you have to be 18 to do it. I was lucky enough to ride in the main arena at Badminton for the Stallion Show. And I have to, oh my God, the feeling of that. That was incredible. They had the start box, they had the cross country fences. I was on Britannia's Mail, the Stallion, and I was cantering him around, and he locked onto the cross country fences on, and I was like, oh, I'm so tempted right now.
How much trouble would you have really got in? Who knows?
Oh, I did ask my mother, but she quite likes her little Stallion show at Badminton. So I was like, yeah, we probably do want to be invited back next year and not banned. But no, I'd love to compete at Badminton, Burghley, the 5 stars. Like, I've watched my mum. Like, okay, I probably didn't appreciate how cool it was back when I was little. But I've seen all the videos. I've rewatched all the videos now, and like the atmosphere that there is, and just it gets me so excited. Like, just watching someone come across the finish line, having jumped clear or jumping a clear round and winning, and the idea of being able to do that, especially like somewhere so close, like Badminton's not far from me, and we've gone there pretty much every year. So it's definitely got a special place in my heart, and it's definitely somewhere I want to go one day.
So how old were you when your mum won Badminton with Hedley Britannia with Brit in 2007?
Somewhere between it, I think it was 2007.
It was
one of them was 2006, one of them was 2007.
Burghley was 2006, Badminton was 2007, and then Kentucky was 2009. So how old would you have been?
4.
Yeah, you see that? I mean, I've got a 4-year-old now, and I think he absolutely would not remember.
Oh, I would have. I can guarantee you, I would have been asleep in my pram while my mum show jumped as well. That was our little ritual. Okay. I think she jumped clear somewhere, and I was asleep in my buggy while she jumped clear. And every single time my mum or dad went to show jump at a big event, I would, even if I wasn't tired or it wasn't my nap time, they were like, you have to go to sleep right now.
Did you ever pretend?
Oh yeah, probably. But I'm a very good sleeper, so I close my eyes and I'm out.
You're gone. That's amazing. But yes, like looking back, actually, to be that young, you don't really remember that sort of kind of atmosphere, the experience as such. One of the ways that the sport has changed massively, I would say, from when those kind of badminton and Burley wins in the mid 2000s to now, certainly is social media. And actually that's something you're very, very good at. It's a big part of your brand and a big part of what you kind of enjoy, I guess. How has that kind of evolved? Did it happen naturally? And what's the kind of the good bits and the bad bits? Because it's not always straightforward.
To be fair, I still stand by this today. I do Instagram purely for myself. I always did. I absolutely love. I just like making the videos, and then like years later being able to look back and see them. It's kind of like my own little archive of my eventing. Well, I can't really say career, but it's my little archive.
You can say career. That's okay.
My little archive of all my little ponies. So I started it because I wanted to have somewhere that I could post all of my horsey stuff. Like I think I used to post the odd one on my like main like private one, but then obviously being at school and doing horses, no matter how good you are, is never the easiest. So I started my eventing account, and then obviously I had Shrimp, who was, well, he was special. He still is special. And everybody absolutely fell in love with him. Almost as much as I did. So it just it grew from there. And I do think about it a little bit. Like I think about what time I'm posting, what I'm posting. I try not to post something because it's gonna do well, or it's what I think people want to see. I always try to post something that I want to post. And I've been quite lucky. I've always had quite a lot of support through Instagram. I've made and met so many friends through it. I think one of my best friends I actually started talking to on Instagram, oddly enough. There's always negativity on Instagram. There always was. And I think when my account first started gaining more traction, I got it became a little bit more clear. But as soon as you don't interact with it, then people just kind of give up. They don't, people just want a place to voice their opinion. If they say something mean, if you delete the comment, then that kind of gets rid of their place to put their opinion, and they don't want to do it anymore. So everyone can be quite negative about social media, but I quite like it. I like to use it in a way, I've gained quite a few sponsors through it. I've met so many people, and it's definitely given me so many more opportunities than I probably would have had. And it's given me so much, oddly enough, knowledge. I actually have to think about the way that I'm presenting myself. There are so many mistakes that I've made on Instagram. Looking back at some of my posts, I'm like, why the hell? Why did I say that? Did I not think about that? So it's definitely been a learning curve. Oh, and I'm pretty sure I'm known for my spelling and grammar mistakes on Instagram. The amount of times I post something and then I get a text from my mum 5 minutes later being like, Ellie, can you just read your Instagram post again, please? And I'm like, yep, sorry, my bad. My spelling and grammar is not my strong suit. But I do like Instagram. I don't do Facebook as much. I'm getting there on TikTok. TikTok is becoming a thing.
It's the way forward. Okay.
Yeah. So many more brands are what's the word?
Growing.
Yes. They're showing up on it. Which is, well, it's just interesting. Social media does fascinate me. I mean, there was a time that I was, I think if I wasn't going to do horses, I was going to do something to do with social media. But my university plans changed with that one. I don't think I can see myself quite going into doing something with social media, but it was definitely there at one point in my life.
You now get the best of both worlds. And it's one of those things, isn't it, that actually there are so many positives to it, and actually when used well, you can make it a really, really powerful tool. And I think that's something that there's plenty of people within the eventing community that do it well, and then there's others that actually it's possibly a little bit harder to kind of grasp and follow and kind of build upon. But it is ultimately very, very much part of not only our sport, but our lives now. Ultimately, it's a huge part of it, is intertwined in it in so many ways. In terms of the future, we have got end of last year, first of all, Le Lion d'Angers with Pure Trendsetter, the 7-year-old World Championships. Your first visit, okay, not outside of the UK and Ireland. There we go. What was that like? Because you'd had a brilliant run up to Le Lion. You had that superb second place finish at Hartpury, which was very, very impressive. What was, I guess, first of all, the call up like when they told you you're going?
So it's very different to, so like I obviously did under 18s, and they call you and they tell you that you're going to be there. Leon's very different. Like I had to wait until the announcement came on BE before that was the first time I found out.
You found out when the press release went out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very different. To be fair, we had no idea how the whole selection thing would go. We knew, Hartpury was an absolute whirlwind. I don't think any of us, I think we were going there expecting, if we could get a top 25, that would be amazing. I just wanted to go clear cross country and get a qualification. So Hartpury was incredible. So obviously I'd always dreamed of going to Le Lion. I absolutely loved the idea of it, especially on something that I produced myself. So it was always in the back of my mind, but when we got her, she had done absolutely nothing, and so she'd gone up the grades quite quickly. Obviously 2021 was her first season, so the idea to go to the Lion having only done one season of eventing did not seem possible at all. So it was very much in the back of our brains coming up to Hartpury, and then obviously Hartpury went so well, we were all a bit like, maybe this is a little bit more achievable. And then she did really well at Cornbury as well, which was kind of like, we all kind of knew it was the final trial. And when we found out from the press release, I just started crying. I called my mother in happy tears and was like, oh my God. And I can't remember where my mother was at the time, but one of my best friends, Robin, one of our little Dutch working pupils, I literally ran into accommodation and we just started jumping because she knew that she would come and groom for us, and she was as involved in the whole process as we were. And then, so we have two owners that helped us get trendy, Chris Emmett and Liz Hills, and I think they were jumping up and down on the end of their phone as well. But no, the whole experience was incredible. It was definitely one for the memories.
Is there a moment that stands out? Because it was a tough old 7-year-old track this last year.
I liked every moment of it. I couldn't have been prouder of her. She went and we didn't get the best draw, so we were quite early on, and we were on the first day of dressage, which is always a little bit rougher. It seemed to be, especially this year, but no, she did the most incredible test, one of her best tests to date. She was incredible cross country. I actually, oddly enough, it was brilliant timing. I got held for the first time ever on her. I think fence number 5. And oh my God, not the best timing. So I got held, and then we managed to go clear. And then they gave me 6 time penalties. So obviously we were very happy after the cross country, but we then had to then go get, because I knew I'd been held before. I knew I'd done my minute markers correctly, and I knew that I was inside the time. So we got it appealed, but obviously that took a couple of hours. So there was a good couple of hours after the cross country where like we didn't really know how to feel. And obviously that's the time where you haven't trotted the horse up. You don't, obviously she felt good coming off the cross country, but you never know until you trot them up later in the evening. So there's that couple of hours after the cross country where everyone's kind of holding their breath a little bit. And to have these 6 time penalties, which I think it changed, I moved me back up about 20 places. So it made quite a big difference. And then, I mean, she jumped really well on the third day. It's a tough competition all round. And I think she finished in the top 30.
She was 27th. And I'm not that much of a stalker, listeners. Before the listeners go, Nickers, what are you doing? Stop stalking the poor girl. I looked at the FEI record, just doing my research.
To finish in the top 30 of all the 7-year-olds in the world it's just such a surreal thought, really.
What about this season with her? Because she's turning 8. You've got a couple of other really, really nice younger horses coming up the levels as well. So what will be the plan for 2023?
So I've got the 2 stallions. One, Marley, will hopefully go, planning to do
Britannia's
our first
Mail?
Yes, Britannia's Mail will hopefully go and do our first 4-star at some point, which is slightly nerve-wracking. I mean, stepping up to advance was fine on him because he'd done advance before, but he's not quite done a 4-star. So yes, that will be that I'm quite excited about. I've just got to find the place. But yeah, then we've got the other little 5-year-old. I think he's turning 6 this year. Britannia's Bijou. He'll go out and just get some more runs under his belt. He's still got a little bit of he's very much got the little pony cheekiness in him. And then we've got a couple more youngsters coming through. We've got the 2 Upsilon babies, the 4-year-old that won Next Gen, Upsy Britannia, Upsy as he's known at home. He will hopefully get out and do some 100s, and I'd quite like to aim him for the 5-year-old champs at the end of the year. And then obviously I've got Twinkle Toes, as she's known, pure trendsetter. I've got like 3 different game plans depending on how the events go. I think we've got the big aim will be Bicton under 21 young rider champs, see how that goes. If that goes well, then hopefully young rider Europeans will be on the cards. If not, I quite like the idea of Blenheim, 8 and 9-year-olds, but I think that might be a little ambitious. I quite like to do Aston 8 and 9-year-olds. I believe that's June-ish, July.
Is it July?
Yeah, July.
Mid-July, I think.
Like my mother's already like she's getting her changes. My mother spent the last 2 months teaching her changes, so she's quite confident with her changes now. But yeah, it's just getting. It depends how the year goes.
The 8-year-old year is an interesting year, isn't it? Because they've sort of made that step up to 3-star long as a 7-year-old, and they're sort of, it's like the consolidating year kind of thing before the step up again. I guess the young riders, actually, they're 3-star long level as well. You'd think she's got very, very good form at the 3-star long level now. I'd say that the chances there. Where are the young rider Europeans in 20?
Montelibretti, Italy.
Oh,
yes, okay. And I quite like the idea of Italy. I'm just trying to play it by ear. She has all the potential. I've got to get my show jumping a little bit better. I'm not the best show jumper. Show jumping terrifies me. There's a reason I'm an eventer, not a show jumper. Her dressage is coming along quite nicely. And I mean, she's an out and out cross country horse, so that's less of a problem. But yeah, I'm just kind of going to play it by ear with her. We've got a couple of aims, but try not to. I don't like to set my heart too much on something, because if I do that, then it only leads to heartbreak. So
yeah,
we have little aims, and then if things go wrong, you just make more plans.
Yeah, no, don't blame you at all. You say Italy sounds quite nice. What flag? We obviously see the British flag by your name at present. Is there a chance we might see the Australian one in the future?
Possibly. Yet to make my mind up. I've definitely got to get through Young Riders. So that gives me a couple more years of thinking. My dad, and I'm pretty sure my Aussie family will be thrilled if I do. But yeah, I've got the flexibility to move if I want to. I quite like being a Brit at the moment. Yeah, so it will depend. You never know. I might change my mind in 20 years or so. I've got my Aussie passport. So yeah, we'll see.
Watch this space. You are completely right. There's no sort of hard and fast as to when, if you make the decision. It's obviously just an interesting dynamic, and I guess we'll watch this space in the future as to what it might appear as. Lots to look forward to. Ellie, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to have you on the show. And I have absolutely no doubt that we will be talking about you a lot, and we will all enjoy following your progress.
Thank you for having me.
It is our absolute pleasure. Listeners, we hope you've enjoyed it as well. I know that this is a show that plenty of you have been hankering after over the last couple of years. So we're delighted to be able to bring it to you. Ellie, big thank you again for your time. Listeners, we will have lots more in store for you. We might even do another Future Stars show before too long as well. For now, though, big thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon with more on the Equating Eventing podcast.